You may see. Start from here. It will start.
Ja.
Good afternoon and welcome to our Thursday Live. No matter where in the world you're watching, today is International Day of Awesomeness. So I hope that you have experienced an absolutely awesome day and a week since we've last seen each other. A warm welcome to our Tjhoko family in Switzerland, our Tjhoko family in Australia, New Zealand, Mauritius, Namibia, Botswana, and then most special, our family and friends, Tjhoko family, right here in South Africa. I'm Nadine Mama Tjhoko, and my purpose is to inspire you to unleash the creativity that might be hidden inside. So sit back, relax. You are in our store in St. Francis Bay, and we hope that you will be filled with awesomeness after this session. I have an old piece of wood in front of me, and this now can be a furniture piece, it can be a wall, it can be a tray. Just think of the items in your house where you possibly can apply this technique. What I'm going to start with is I'm going to focus on the bottom over here, and I'm going to show you how to paint in a very unconventional way with only a spatula and a scraper. So this was actually inspired by Suzuki, that sent me such beautiful pictures of things that he has done in the factory while I'm away. So I'm using the following 4 Tjhoko colors. It's called Tjhoko, and I'm going to elaborate more on that later. Don's Wash. Let me show closer. So there's Tjhoko, Don's Wash. Jaco, you will tell me if something is unclear. Stefan and Sheriff Stone. And as you can see, I'm only going to work with these sample pots, and you will see how far you get with very little paint. So I am using a spatula. It can also be a scraper, paint scraper, and I'll show you, just a normal paint scraper, maybe an old credit card, something that's flat that you have lying around. And I'm simply dipping my spatula in different paint colors, these 4 that I've just shared with you, and I'm spreading it over my surface. So I'm creating some unevenness to my surface in terms of color. If you are more a neutral, muted person, remember we all are different. There are no rights or wrongs. You do what makes you happy. You can use a more neutral palette. There's a reason for my color selection today, which I will share later. And I'm spreading these colors on my surface. So the more uneven it is, the better for the technique and the effect we want to create today. Some Stefan. So whenever you feel that something needs some brighten up, we use a lighter color to accentuate. Now I'm just going to use my paint scraper on those wetter sections and just scrape a bit to create roughness, unevenness, and a very worn, creative, fun background. So Jaco can maybe zoom in if need be, so that this entire process just makes sense. Some more green. And then spread the colors, and you stop and play until you are happy. So no paintbrush is used. I'm just going to finish that section so that the entire surface is complete. So the reason for my paint selection today while I'm busy completing this is I actually today while I was driving to get things, because we're starting to film the 5th season of Doodgewone Joe, a TV show that we do in South Africa with Joe Black, the artist, where I try to teach him how to paint. Some days are easier than others, but I'm not going to say much more. Is I realized that I have awesomeness in my life based on very special gentlemen in my life. Now the Tjhokos, the color that I'm using here, is named after both my son and my husband. And they are the two awesome men in my life. And in the book, and this is actually the inspiration for today's live workshop, I have shared a story about them. So here they are, and this is something that you've seen on our social media pages today. That's my son and my husband, and that is the color Tjhoko that we're working with now, and the stencil technique I'm going to show next. So they are a pair of awesomeness in my life. The next pair of awesomeness in my life is my father and our business partner that are both Tinuses, and they are Tinus Terracotta. And in the book, let me give you a sneak peek, if I can find it quickly, of their wonderful inspiration and meaning in my life. So my dad and Tinus, our business partner, are like gentle leaders. There is their beautiful picture. This was also actually used, this project, on the front cover of the Painted last year, an annual magazine. And then I have two more Tinuses. So it's Tjhoko, Yaku, Tinus, and two more Tinuses. And that's my brother, also a Tinus, and his son, also a Tinus. Mm-hmm. And look how beautiful that is. I must be honest that Tinus Jr., I'll show slowly, how stunning. I'm not going to work with his color today, that for another day, but my brother's son, Tinus Jr., doesn't have a Tjhoko color yet. I'm still waiting for his personality to be unleashed. Okay, my paint work is completed, and now I'm going to use a Tjhoko stencil. I must be honest, I didn't have time to search for the code. We'll share it afterwards. And you can see I have already worked with it. Okay, so it has been used already. And I've started on this section to do the silver and the copper leaf. So what I'm going to do, I'm pattern repeating it, and this is also an important step that I'm sharing if you have to pattern repeat a stencil that is pattern repeatable, is to just look for the area where the patterns overlap, move it up. So here I have a new section to work with, and I know it forms an exact pattern repeat. For the next, I'm going to use Tjhoko Paint's clear glaze, which is actually our sealant, but such a versatile product. You can do decoupaging with it. There are so many uses for it. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do so, because there you will see the various uses for the Tjhoko clear glaze as well. The YouTube channel is just Tjhoko Paint on YouTube. I'm now working with an artist brush. So it's a nice soft artist brush. I dip it in the undiluted clear glaze, and I remove excess clear glaze, so it's wet but it's not dripping, and I paint the inside areas of my stencil where I would usually apply my paint. This is just not paint I'm using now, it's clear glaze. Tip when you are doing this is to use a stencil pattern with nice large detail areas. So if it's smaller detailed areas, it will be more difficult to get the authentic gold leaf, copper leaf, silver leaf effect. Then the designs will just be too small and you won't actually see what pattern you are working with, and it might look neat. So I have chosen a stencil with nice big areas where I can paint my glaze on. So the leaf sheets come in square sizes. I'm going to show now once I've applied this square more or less. So I'm working more or less in the same size than the leaf sheet with a glaze application. So I'm not applying glaze everywhere, just in more or less a square. Okay, I'm going to stop there. So I have applied glaze in this area. And now I'm going to take my gold copper leaf sheet. Let me just see which one it is. It's this one, so it looks like this. And this is what you find inside. I remove a single sheet. And I put it more or less on the area where I have just applied my glaze. Next step is to take a clean dry paintbrush and dab. So the glaze acts as a glue and it will stick the sheet onto your painted surface. Next very important step is ensure that your paint has cured and dried for at least 4 hours, else the glaze will remove the paint if it hasn't cured properly. For those that live in very humid areas where it's cold, maybe winter times, we do suggest longer drying times. Leave overnight. Leave your paint to cure overnight before you start with this step. So what I do, as you can see, there are no glaze there. I'm just going to paint there. And then even use some leftover pieces from other areas, press it down. So it's not perfect. It's not meant to be perfect. Sometimes we need to find perfection in the imperfection. And with art, this is most of the time the case. So I'm just painting some glaze even on top of my sheet, just to make sure that it sits, and the areas where it doesn't sit, relax. We can always apply another piece or a new sheet there. So I'm trying my best not to waste and use whatever I have on my surface. Okay, so this sheet is complete. I'm now going to apply glaze. And remember, you don't want glaze running in behind your stencil. Then it most probably will stick your stencil to your painted surface. So I'm just painting glaze in the areas of my stencil design. And now I'm going to use a silver leaf. You can use colors. You do get copper leaf, silver leaf, gold leaf. Use what make you happy. On the Tjhoko project in the book, we used gold leaf. I'm now making use of silver leaf and copper leaf. So next I'm using the silver leaf sheet and I'm applying it onto the bottom section of my stencil design. I'm just trying to use every bit and piece. Take my dry brush, dab it. And now you can see a definite line over here where the two sheets meet. I don't want to see that line because this is imperfect art that I'm creating. So I'm just going to tear off some silver leaf that's left over on the bottom here. And this is the nice thing. You can make changes as the project evolves. And I'm just adding some silver leaf over there so that there's no definite line where the two sheets meet. And there's some copper leaf piece left over there. Okay, now I'm going to allow for this to dry for a second while I share the next message with you. And then only will we remove the stencil. If I remove the stencil too soon, I will just lift everything that I've just applied to my surface. So the glaze is like a glue, it just needs a moment to dry. While it's drying, I just want to add some gold leaf here, or silver leaf on that section over there. Okay, while this dries, let me open my laptop and show you something. So for those that live within the borders of South Africa, we currently have, let me make it nice and big. This, close, this competition running. So this is our TikTok competition for March 2022, where one lucky entry and person can stand a chance of winning 10,000 Rand in cash with Tjhoko Paint. So what you need to do is the following, and I'm going to read this to you and we'll share it on our social media page after this session, is win 10,000 Rand with Tjhoko Paint, share your Tjhoko projects and makeovers with us on TikTok and stand a chance of winning 10,000 Rand. It can be any project using all Tjhoko Paint's products, a stunning furniture piece, a creative future wall, tie-dye your clothing, paint flower pots, be as creative as you can. And here are how to. So upload your video of your project to TikTok. Follow Tjhoko Paint on TikTok. That's the next thing. Tag Tjhoko Paint and use the hashtags Tjhoko Paint and Tjhoko Creations. Make sure your profile is set to public so we can see your video. And then competition closes 30th of March. Okay, so please enter. We want to see how creative you can be. I'm now going to remove my stencil. And what I do next is I just dip that same dry brush that I've used before, and I'm just painting, and this can be diluted glaze as per the instructions on the jar. I just don't have diluted glaze with me at the moment, and I'm just painting some glaze on top as well, because this will make sure that everything is secure and perfect. And this is the only time that I actually recommend to paint on the glaze, because this is a very imperfect background with a very unique stencil design on top. I'll just dab to remove excess, but you don't have to, because I just want you to be able to see what the outcome looks like. I hope it's clear on the screen. And this is my message for this week, is that we shouldn't wait one day in the year to celebrate International Awesomeness Day. Every day can be awesome. And to have awesome days, you need to be surrounded by awesome people. So if you're not surrounded by awesome people, be that awesome person in someone else's life, because by giving, we're actually receiving. Have an amazing week ahead. Stay creative. I hope that this has inspired you to try a new project and a new technique, and I'm sending you loads of love and creativity wherever you are watching. Bye-bye.